And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, folks. Great show today. I'll take your car questions soon. But on the hotline with us now is Mark Bogdansky, Senior Director of Meetings and Events for the Auto Care Association. Mark is responsible for strategic planning and trade show management for the Auto Care Association, including the annual Apex show, which just took place in Vegas earlier this month, and the Heavy Duty Aftermarket Week show scheduled in January, again in Vegas. Mark is also active on multiple industry advisory boards and has spoken at several industry events. Mark, sounds like you're a busy guy. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thanks for having me, Bobby. Glad to be here.
You know, for our Car Clinic listeners and viewers out there who don't know, what does APEX stand for, and how does that organization help the automotive industry?
Absolutely. So APEX is the Automotive Aftermarket Products Expo. We take place every year in Vegas, like you said, usually around Halloween. And we bring in everybody who has anything to do with the automotive aftermarket. So it's about 170,000 people descend on Vegas, and we have all the major manufacturers, we have all of the top retailers, we have all of the major program groups, which represent all of the mechanics across the country, and they're all coming to Vegas to learn everything there is to know about the automotive industry.
Everything there is to know. Well, let's go. Give us the 30,000-foot view and touch on the different educational training sessions that are part of the event, and what are people learning?
Yeah, you know, we do everything we can to make sure that our folks are staying ahead of the curve when it comes to learning about the industry. So we're talking about technology. We're talking about business management, trends and opportunities that are coming down the road. We're talking about business management in your own individual shops. We're going all the way down to doing underhood training for individual types of cars. We're doing underhood training on alternative vehicles, alternative fuel vehicles, anything and everything that you can think of. We've got training for it.
Well, to that end, I understand there were some new topics covered this year. Can you explain?
Absolutely. So the two big things that we tried to focus on new this year were alternative fuel and SVI. The alternative fuel cars we brought in the National Alternative Fuel Training Consortium. They are really the experts on how to train technicians on working on alternative fuel cars. And they spent 3 days training guys on hydrogen cars, electric cars, hybrids, propane-fueled cars. These are the guys that are training Tesla on how to work on cars. And they really spent time getting under the hood, showing guys this is how you're going to work on these cars that you're going to see in your shops in the very near future. If we want our shops to be able to learn how to work on these cars, to be able to work on them, we need to be able to train them, and that's what we spend a lot of time doing. The other thing is the SVI, the Secure Vehicle Interface, which makes sure that we have a cyber-secure, agnostic way for our consumers to get access to all of the data that our cars are producing on a regular basis, which allows them to decide where that data is going, whether they want to keep the data for themselves to be able to work on a car themselves, or if they want to give that data access to their local mechanic instead of just going back to the dealer.
We're talking with Mark Bogdansky, Senior Director of Meetings and Events for the Auto Care Association. So, Mark, given the large number of OEMs, that's the car makers, at Apex every year, how are these new car makers connected to what's known as an aftermarket event?
Yeah, you know, these guys are coming because they want to see what's out there. A lot of our aftermarket guys are going in, they're taking the new cars, they're taking them apart, and they're seeing what they can do better. And a lot of the OEMs are walking the floor to learn what can be done better, and a lot of them are actually buying from our manufacturers. So a lot of the parts, when you go back to a dealer to get something fixed, if you decide to go that route, the parts you're buying are actually aftermarket parts that our manufacturers are buying, and you're supporting the aftermarket in that way. So a lot of the OEMs that are walking the floor are actually buying from the aftermarket manufacturer we have on the floor.
Exactly. And folks, to that end, to expand on what Mark just gave to us, all of the aluminum wheel industry originated from Apex and those organizations, and the new car makers just adopted those accessories and made them available for everyone. So that's just a glaring glimpse of the obvious there that we all have seen on every new car. So Mark, give us a highlight on some of the featured companies and products from this year's show.
Yeah, I'll mention a few that come to mind. I mean, we had Interstate Batteries premiered a brand new battery tester that makes it really easy for technicians to scan the VIN number on a car and a battery, and it immediately can tell you the strength of the battery. Is a great new product. Ullman released a new digital inspection mirror, which actually allows them to see more of the engine that they used to only be able to feel with their fingers, and they can actually view the inspection on their smartphone and upload those pictures and videos to share with customers, which is always great as they want to be able to provide better information to customers. Gates released this new complete serpentine kit that was actually based on a lot of things that repair shops and consumers were looking for, which allows for some preventive repairs to be done for vehicle owners. And ZF Aftermarket we were just talking about electric cars. Through TRW, they've actually developed some brake pads which are specific for electric vehicles. So as we're seeing these electric vehicles start to get to the aftermarket, TRW's put together some brake pads under the Electric Blue brand, which are specific for electric cars, which I think are really fabulous.
Very interesting. And one final question, Mark. Where can our Car Clinic listeners and viewers go for more information?
Well, first of all, they got to come to Vegas next year. Until they get there, and if they want to learn more about the show that just happened last week, a couple weeks ago, or for next year's show, they want to go to www.apexshow.com, and they can learn all the information about the show that was just there, all the manufacturers that were there, all the products that we have, and see what's coming up for next year.
Mark Bogdansky, Senior Director of Meetings and Events for the Auto Care Association, and really, truly a great guest here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Mark, thank you so much for your time today, and we'll see you again at the same time at next year's Apex event.
Sounds good, Bobby. And, Bobby, I want to invite you to come out and do a live hit next year from Apex.
Sounds great. Thanks again.
Thanks, Bobby.